In, uh, in the 1930s, at the Eagle and Child Pub in Oxford, England, a group of theologians and writers came together, including J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. And they described what they came together was to work with half-formed ideas. And it was there that Tolkien first read drafts of The Hobbit. So groups have a way of forming an intentionality that then brings people together in different kinds of dialogues and shapes a larger way of looking at the world, a way of seeing and hearing and feeling the world. In the 1930s, 18th and Vine was, let me get it.
Technology. People.
Technology.
Well done, Alan.
Yes, I'm going to keep the sequence because it's going to end with Owl.
Well, we have illustrious ancestry.
So the Inklings met at a pub in a cafe in Paris. I walked by Les Deux Magots, which is a cafe where Hemingway and Picasso and Sartre and de Beauvoir spent time. This was a place over the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s where people came together to discuss it in a salon setting. On 1063 Avenue Road in Toronto, 1973, was the concentration of comics that would later influence all of our understanding of American comedy. John Belushi, Bill Murray, they hung out at this house. They were all part of Second City or in some ways connected to the comedy circuits in Toronto. And now as I get closer to Owl, there was a place on Arguello Boulevard in 1968. Do you remember the address of this place, Aryeh?
647.
It was the House of Love and Prayer that Aryeh rented out in order to create a home for, among others, Shlomo Carlebach and Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi. And it was there for 2 or 3 years. And not only was it a place for Shlomo's work, but it was a network that really furthered the interfaith dialogues that would become much more apparent in the decades that followed. And I worked with Reb Zalman years later, who brought forward the experience of that House of Love and Prayer. And so it's no surprise to me when Aryeh suggested the idea of a technology network of people called One World Lights. It was almost as if it was part of his DNA to understand that you needed to get people together, to have conversations, to feel each other, to feel the resonance that my describing collective wisdom from one place could resonate so strongly with James from another part of the world with a whole different set of circumstances. That it's this idea of feeling each other and feeling into what we care about that begins to create the ecosystem of thought and practice. And so that's what I'll bless you with, but to now hear what comes up when you hear me say this.
Alan, that was very generous of you to create this story. It's very inspiring. Thank you for that. I'll try to live in that story a bit.